my project, I decided to go with GraphQL. Now for my GraphQL, I have this is the structure that I've decided to go with. Now instead of using MongoDB driver, I'm using Mongoose this time around because I want found out that Mongoose is a better choice to go with when you want to verify your data and validate your data. So I have Mongoose, and then my my database URL is in my environment variable hidden. So then I connect to that. Then I specify here the database that I want to target. Traditionally with MongoDB driver, I would have to specify the database within the query, but with this one here, I can specify within the connection. So then all the I don't have to then later on in my queries specify where I'm going. And then I install the packages that I'm working with, the dependencies. I'm using bcrypt for encrypting my password, and then the .env for using my environment variable. And then I installed GraphQL, Mongoose, and Express GraphQL. So then in my app.js, I pass a middleware function that takes a / of GraphQL. So then when I run in the local in the local host 3000, and then I say /GraphQL, then it's going to take me to the interactive UI that I'll use for my queries. And then I also then imported the GraphQL HTTP from Express GraphQL. This is going to handle all the requests that is going to come through the GraphQL. I then have my schema, my root value. This is going to handle then I have the GraphQL UI. This one is going to respond to the UI. So this one is going to be responsible for getting the queries. This one is for the schema, as we call it. And then within my models, the post, I haven't worked on it yet. It's just something I'm working on. But then for the user, I basically learned that with Mongoose, most of my my data validation is going to happen within the model. So here I do have my my user schema, and then I leverage the schema function within Mongoose to describe the structure of the data that I'm expecting. And then later on I then store that model within user, and then and this is the schema, and this is then the collection that I'm particularly targeting. Then I export that, and then if you now go to my resolver, I then import my user that I exported here, and then within this resolver, that's where the logic for interacting with the database is going to be. Then I have create user, and then I have get user. These are the functions that are responsible for creating and getting the particular user that we want to deal with. So then I run my project. It's on port 3000. I have run that already. So this is currently what's there. So now for demonstration purposes, because I'm using GraphQL, I already have a UI that I'm going to also use for my documentation. I don't have to use Swagger for that, as I learned. So let's first see what we have here and what we are working with. So for example, here's my documentation. It says here you can either run query or mutation. Mutation is basically going to be the posting, and the query is going to be the getting. So now let's do mutation. Give me suggestion. I open an object, and then within that I want to create user, and then that's the function. Then what is it expecting? It's expecting user input. So I then say, okay, give me that user input, and then after that, to know how I'm going to use this, I can come to my mutation here, click on the root, then it says create user, then I'll say user input data, what is it expecting? Then I click that, then it's expecting an email. So within here, I'm then going to say I believe email, then I'll say, let's say Chino at Gmail. That's the first data that I've passed. The name, I'm going to pass remove that. I'm going to pass Chino. Then for the last one is the password. I'm then going to pass Chinos. So just like that, I've passed the data that I'm expecting basically to pass. And then I'm going to create another object of what I want it to return back. I want it to return back name and email, okay, of the things that we have created. Now let's run that. So this is the data that has been returned. It's showing that Chino has been created in our database. So if I go then to my MongoDB database, then I refresh that, you see that I have Chino here. And then if you look at the password, it has already been hashed, so which means it's hidden. Now what I'm going to do is that let's run the query. Let me just copy this whole thing. Okay, let's copy this. I wanted to copy the ID here. Okay, let's copy that ID, go here, remove that, then I'll run. Now I'll go back to my documentation. If I want to run query, I'll type in query here. I'll say query, open another object, and then what does it say? It says get user. So then I'll run that function, get user, and then that function, what is it expecting? It's expecting user ID. Alright, then within the user ID, it's expecting another function, another object that I pass the ID. So then I'll do that. ID is equals to this, and then from that I want you to return me the name, the email of this person. So this is what I want it to return. So then if I run that, it will then give me the person who's within that. I can even try that for a different user. Let's try this for at least this guy here. Copy that, then I'll paste it within here. Okay, that one's going to bring me back. What did I do wrong? User ID. Okay, this user I had manually entered. Let me try another user. Okay, there's McDonald's. So it brought back McDonald's. So which means our posts and our get is working very well. And this is going to be my documentation as I'm working with my social media. The difference now between REST and GraphQL is that I can be specific with what I want to be returned from my interaction with the database, which is contrary to REST, where I get a whole bunch of data and I don't know what to do with it sometimes, or you don't have any use for it. So you can be very specific in what you want to get out of an interaction, and I think that's how it works. Cheers.